Welcome, ladies. We're going to start our share now. We're going to dedicate the share to the Cholim, Betucham, Sarah Naama Bat Rivka Liza, Member Devorah Dasa, Yosef Ben Liora, Rivka Bat Cheshiba, Neora Bat Libachaya, Chaim Yecheskel Ben Leah. There's another mother, I can't remember her name. בתוך שעה חולה, עמו ישראל, בעזרת השם שיביא בשורות טובות for everyone here, ישועות ונחמות. We should be able to really truly connect to this month, to the meaning and the inspiration that we gained today, myself included. Maybe we'll say Parak of Tehillim because it's also apropos. Let's start. I'm just going to pause the recording. Shir HaMa'alot. Yeah.
That one?
Yeah. I'm starting a Tomer Devorah class, Bezrat Hashem. Hopefully tomorrow night. I'm supposed to have a hostess today, but it didn't happen. She has a cleaning lady. You canceled yours. Why? Yalla, let's do it. I need a place. I could do it in my house, but then I'm going to kick my husband out.
Mornings or nights?
Whatever you guys want. I was going to do nights because people want to join from Chul.
Oh, nights I can't.
So the mornings, we could do morning. Well, I want to start tomorrow. Yes, I want to start tomorrow because I feel like I need to start Tomer Devorah because it's very close to, sorry, I'm just trying to find this, very close to Yom Kippur when we say the Yud Gimel Midot. This is all now. Slichos is Yud Gimel Midot. And that's what Tomer Devorah is all about. So I really would like to do something as soon as possible. So it's going to be a weekly class, and it's really it's like a series. And also, I have my tefillah class I'd like to start, and there's Bezrat Hashem going to be a summit, Elul summit with different speakers and rabbis, representatives, hopefully Bezrat Hashem in the planning. And next week, I hope Bezrat Hashem's Kiver Tzadikim trip with Shashi Nessenbaum. So hopefully you can come. I think Monday night. A little further away from my chasana. I said not so close to my chasana, Thursday night. But it's night. It's a night trip, so that we can go out and it's not boiling hot, and we can get back early morning.
Thursday night.
Yeah. What do you think though? There's either 12, we could do like sunrise at the Keren.
Yeah.
12 p.m. or 3 a.m. That's the choice. Like go to sleep a little bit or not go to sleep, sleep on the bus. 12 a.m. or 3 a.m.
What do you mean, what's fine to go?
To start, yeah.
Better at 12.
Putting it out there today.
To go watch it, you can do it.
I think better at 12. Why make people wake up at
No,
2:30 in the morning?
Really hard. Yeah.
12?
Yeah.
I'm going to take a poll.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we want to get to Keren and sunrise. That's not till 6. It takes about 2 hours.
Let's go to the car.
5. Yes, we're going to look warm. We're going to end up at Keren by sunrise. It'll be advertised today. You're hearing of it first.
Why do you have to do it at 3? The Keren's at 6, so leave it at 4. 4 is the normal time to wake up.
We're doing Kibbutz Tzadikim and then
Do it after the Keren, after the sunrise, no?
right. We could.
I don't know. Whatever you want.
No, I'm taking a poll. I'm gonna put a poll in the group.
I think to tell somebody we're leaving at 5 in the morning is a nice, but you're gonna miss it.
Right. Also, we don't want to be out in the heat. Kibbutz Tzadikim, it's very, very hot. So like we figured
You
out.
don't want to daven at the Kavara?
Yeah, we're allowed to daven at night.
Should I give me a shachar?
Daven every mayor. Shacharis. It's right there by the
People
Keren.
are gonna be tired.
You're gonna have energy. Going to Kibbutz Tzadikim, you get koach. Okay, let's start. Elul, it's Elul, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for coming. Thank you for hosting to our beautiful hostess, Naomi. And there's a lot of stuff. Look at my notes all over. But we're going to try to get through a little bit of it, hopefully. And Bezrat Hashem, Hashem Sefetai Tiftach, should be able to V'yagid Tehilotecha, be able to say Hashem's inspiration to us, give it over. And we should all gain from it. So Elul, right? The title of the shiur was Elul HaMelech Basadeh. We know the king is in the field. He's here. And we're going to talk about significance. I read incredible stuff yesterday about that. And it's a time for us to meet Torah. We know, it's the time when the shofar is being blown. It's the time when we finish our vacation. That's it. Kids are getting back to school. Not you guys in America, but us here, it's time to get the boys back, getting the girls ready. Everyone I see buying school supplies. I was last week in the States, and Walmart has all the school supplies, But so the vacation's over, and it's time to get a little bit serious. It's time to really focus and zone in. Because why? This is the last month of the year, and it's leading up to the Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of the year. This is the bridge. This is the month that's the bridge. This is the month that we are connecting ourselves with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And oftentimes people get a little nervous because Elul means, what do I have to do? Make an accounting, do tshuva, look at myself in the mirror, and think, well, what did I do wrong? What do I have to fix, right? And there's a little bit of like trepidation. Your Hashanah is coming, besides the menu that we have to make, the meals. For us, it's also 2 meals, 2 days. So, but besides that, it's like we're not even thinking that right now. We're all like, okay, what do I have to do now? What do I have to do? So really, what I want to say is that Elul is not a time necessarily to have fear, but really it's a time of tremendous, tremendous rachamim and ahava. And we know the famous pasuk, Ani v'dodi v'dodi li, I am to my beloved and my beloved is to me. It's Lashet Tevot, the beginning of the letters, right? Each of the letters is spelled Elul. So there's a few psukim that we're going to talk about that relate to it. We'll start with this, and then we'll talk about why this month is so significant as a chodesh of ahava, of rachamim, not necessarily of just fear and this trepidation that we feel that, oh my gosh, it's the end of the year. Oh my gosh, what's going to be, right? It's really, really a very special, special month, and we have to zone in and tune into this tremendous time to be able to be connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a very deep, deep way. So, Ani Dodi v'Dodi li, this pasuk is brought down in Shir HaShirim, Perek Vav, and it alludes to our tefillah. We're going to see each one of the psukim that allude to avodah that we need to do during this time of Elul. It alludes to tefillah, reaching up from below to above. What's Ani Dodi v'Dodi li? I am to my beloved is to me. When I come towards Hashem, right? I daven to Hashem, I try to connect to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem wants to hear my tefillos. Hashem wants to hear my prayers. The started slichot. This is a time of yemei ratzon, it's the days of desire. It's the days of, wanting, of yearning, of getting close to Hashem. Why? Everything that we commemorate and that we keep is because of something that happened in history. And we know that these were the days that Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Shemaim to get slicha and kapara. For what? For Bnei Israel betraying Hashem, going with another God, chas v'shalom, right? So to speak, that's what it looked like, right? They're betraying Hashem. The Moshe in the summer we commemorated Yudayin B'Tammuz when we commemorate the breaking of the luchos. We could really see that the second luchot that we received were when? When did he get the complete slicha and kapara? Yom Kippur, which is a tremendous day of avat Hashem. It's really a day of connecting to Hashem. Why? Because Zasalachti Kidvarecha. For all those 40 days, when Moshe Rabbeinu went up and he davened and he beseeched Hashem, Hashem said, I forgive you. And he taught Moshe Rabbeinu that you've given me midot of rachamim. We're going to be giving a course on Talmud Devorah, and it's going to relate to these 13 attributes of rachamim that we're beseeching Hashem with. And this is a tremendous connecting us to the midos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who He is. We know we are created with Tzedem Elokim in the image of Hashem. We have to be like Hashem. We have to emulate Hashem. We have to act like Hashem, and in our midot, in everything that we do, and how we conduct ourselves as people. So this day, Yom Kippur, was the day that was the culmination of the 40 days that Moshe went up to get complete mechila, forgiveness for Klal Yisrael, and that day was a tremendous day. So this is a time where we're beseeching Hashem, like Moshe Rabbeinu went up and he was beseeching Hashem. It's the days of desire. It's the days of getting closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So that's Ani Dodi v'Dodi li. Then we have a pasuk that says, Et levavcha ve'et levav zarecha. Right? It actually is in Sefer Devarim, and it says your heart and the hearts of your offspring. And what is this talking about? This is talking about, literally, it says, Hashem should circumcise your heart. What does that mean, circumcise? Purify, right? And this is alluding to the tshuva that we do. When we do tshuva, we're cleansing ourselves, we're purifying ourselves, we're having a spiritual transformation and opening of the heart That's what relates to tshuva. So we know tshuva, tefillah, what's going to be another one? Tzedakah, ma'avirin et Torah gezerah. These three things are able to push away the evil decree. So the next one is ish lere'ehu matanot le'evyonim. Where do we have that pasuk? Megillah, Purim, right? Purim also relates to this time. We're going to see that this is the time when we give gifts to the needy, to the poor, to those who don't have. We want to make sure that everybody is connected, is united, has what they need, helping others. This is the mitzvah tzedakah, right? Not only putting money in the pashka, but it also means doing acts of kindness towards others. This is what we have to increase also during this time. Another pasuk, Ina leyado vesamti lach. For one who did not lie in wait to kill premeditatedly, meaning beforehand, meaning somebody who wanted to go and kill someone because he did something to him. Right? Hashem has caused it to happen. It says, I shall establish for you a place to which you can flee, cities of refuge. We have the Arei Miklat, the place where somebody who killed the Shogeg can go and sort of protect himself. And this pasuk refers to the mitzvah of building these cities of refuge, Arei Miklat, which we actually just read in the Parshiyot also. And this alludes to what? Interestingly enough, Torah study, Talmud Torah, because Talmud Torah is our refuge. That's our way to be able to save ourselves. When we learn Torah, it's a protection for Am Yisrael. So we have Tefillah, Tshuva, Tzedakah, and now we have Torah. Then we have a pasuk, Echad la'olah ve'echad lachatat. This is talking about korbanot, right? That one will be for the burnt offering and the other for the purification offering. And this pasuk relates to the sacrifices that are brought in the Bet HaMikdash, which ultimately, what does it show when we bring a korban? It shows kirva, right? We're being makriv ourselves. We're being moser nefesh, right? To be moser nefesh, to give ourselves over, like a self-sacrifice, right? Dedicating and offering our inner animal self to the Mizbeach. That's really what we're doing. We're bringing a korban. So this is also what we're doing this time, is Mesirut Nefesh, right? Really showing Hashem how much we love Him. That's what we say in the Slichot, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Melech, Hashem Malach, right? Like we said, Ol Malchut Shemaim, to be Moser Nefesh, to come close to Hashem. And then we have a pasuk. It says, the pasuk of Shirat Hayam, where it says, Az ישיר משה את השירה הזאת להשם ויאמרו לאמור. This is a little bit different because the letters are sort of in the middle. So it's et as aleph, להשם, lamed, ויאמרו, vav, לאמור, to Hashem. They said to Hashem. And this is this acronym skips two words in the middle. That's why it's different. Right? So the four letters of Elul are actually in reverse order in the words. And this actually relates to the state of being in Simcha. Because we know when Bnei Israel left the Yam Suf, they were saved, right? By the splitting of the sea. It was tremendous Simcha. L'Hashem v'yamru lemor ashira. That's the psukim, the words out backwards. L'Hashem v'yamru lemor ashira. Those are also related to Elul. And in any case, this pasuk is alluding to this, what we said, the liberation, the redemption, which gave them a tremendous amount of simcha. And what does this teach us? That during Elul, each dimension of our spiritual work that we're doing, all these things that we're doing, we're not supposed to be doing it out of guilt, out of misery, out of sadness. We're supposed to be doing it b'simcha, right? That even when we do tshuva, l'shuva l'Hashem, tshuva means to return to Hashem, to return to a true makol, to who we really truly are, to who we truly want to be. It's tremendous simcha, because there's a purification of who we are. There's an incredible closeness that Kadosh Baruch Hu rectifying that which has been distorted, right? That we were no longer that person who we were. And that's a tremendous simcha that we have to feel. And not the opposite. The opposite is, what do we do? Oh, yeah, I could have done that. I'm such a horrible person. How could I have said that? I said, I'm not going to speak Lashon Hara. I did it again. And what do we do in our head? We beat ourselves up. We're in a critical mode. We do this much more often than we do positive, right? Affirmations. And that's why every morning you have to wake up and say positive affirmations to yourself, right? And just say how amazing you are, how special you are. It actually talks about it in the Sefer. A person during Elul should not say, I'm such a this, I'm such a that, but rather I'm a tzaddik, I'm a tzaddiket, I'm a special neshama that Hashem gave me this neshama, and I'm a special neshama, and I have tremendous koach. What are you talking about? That's gava. That's like, saying, oh, I'm so high and mighty, right? I have such kochot. Moshe Rabbeinu did not underestimate his kochot. But yet Moshe Rabbeinu was anav mikol adam. He was the humblest of all men. But what did he do? He subdued himself before Hashem. And what we're doing by doing tshuva and by rectifying ourselves and by correcting our ways is saying to Hashem, I'm humbling myself before you. Right? What do we do when we're davening? Right? Throughout our davening, we bow. Why do we bow in our davening? Because we're saying, Hashem, you're so great. Who am I before you? That doesn't diminish from who we are. That actually makes us even greater. So when we're saying a positive affirmation that I'm a tzaddiket and I have tremendous kochot and Hashem gave me this special neshama. And you might think this is funny, but this is part of the tshuva process. Because if a person starts the tshuva process, beating himself up, and there's actually a book, I wanted to bring it next time, B'ezrat Hashem, that's called Tshuva. The book is Tshuva by Rabbi Travis. I'm sure you heard of Rabbi Travis. And he talks about how to do the steps of tshuva during this 40 days. And I think one of the first steps is to list all your positive qualities. You would think, okay, let me list all the things I did wrong. Let's start with that. No, start with your positive qualities. What is your koach? What is your strength? And then slowly lead into the things that are weighing you down, the things that you didn't do, the things that you need to maybe rectify. Look how good I am. I want to be even better. I want to be even closer to Hashem. And this is so important. We teach this to our kids. If we don't do this to ourselves, we teach our kids, you're such a tzaddik. You're so great. I'm so proud of you. You did that mitzvah. What do we say to ourselves? How could you do that? You're so this and you're so that, and you call yourself whatever you said. We have to really, really zone in on the good of who we are. Rabbi Jacobson always talks about this, or Rabbi Jacobson says, you're ambassador of faith. You're a tremendous koach. You're a light unto the world. And we don't think about this. We don't think of ourselves like this. Because that's gava. It's not nice. So I talk about, I'm not going to go show off my strength. Yes, you are. Because Hashem gave you this koach. And that means Hashem believes in you. And you have to believe in yourself. And we say, V'ahavta l'recha kamocha. That's the whole shir in of itself. V'ahavta l'recha kamocha is believing that you love yourself first. How could you say kamocha, right? Love your fellow Jew like you love yourself. That means you have to love yourself first. And that's what we're doing during this month. We're loving ourselves. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please, go ahead. No, ask.
No, because everyone says take home something small. Let me think, like,
it's part of this process. Yeah. Yeah. Right. It's hard to know what to pick, but look at when you make an accounting and you're looking at your strengths, and then you start making a list of the things that you want to improve in, you'll see a running theme with the things that maybe you're not as careful with, and pick something that maybe relates to that particular midah or that particular aspect, and it shouldn't be a big thing like, okay, I'm never going to speak lashon hara, but instead for an hour a day, and that's what he talks about here also, we're going to get to it, for an hour a day from this time to that time, I'm very specific, I'm going to try to be careful in what I speak, how I speak. Not only lashon hara, like speaking bad about people, but even using lashon hara, like a negative speech about yourself towards your kids. Never with your husband, but yeah, Okay.
So like some people do this, like some are paying like now, and I'm like, okay, I'll pick 7 to 8 a.m.
Pick what?
7 to 8 a.m.
Right? No. You
have to pick a time.
No, but no, I don't mean shmira. That's like a mishmera lashon. I mean that you are going to be conscious. Right, so I said lashon hara, but it could be really anything. And what we're going to learn, but it shouldn't be something that you're going to end up failing in. It should be something that's very, very small so that you can succeed. Because when you do something, and we're going to talk about how to do it. I'll skip to it in a minute. I'll say it a little bit, and we'll talk about it more. One of the things he says is that we form habits Okay, we form habits in the way we do things. We're used to doing things, so we end up doing them wrong, and we just continue doing them wrong, right? We think a certain way, we feel a certain way, and it makes us react a certain way, right? I feel as somebody did something wrong to me, so then I speak negatively, right? There's an effect that's happening. So he says that we have to rewire our brains to cause positive patterns. So in order to do that, we have to create a situation. Put yourself, like, think about a situation that you're usually in, and really think of how in a positive state during that time period. Like during just set time that you're infusing yourself with positivity. And the other thing he says is that we need to work on our imagination. Dimayon is a very, very big thing in Torah. Because if we don't have the power of like imagining and seeing things, right? The koach of riyah, sort of seeing forward of where we're headed, right? We don't think like, I did this, Avera, and okay, I'm gonna do tshuva, and that's it. I'm done. No, we're thinking, okay, I want to be a better person for the year, right? I want to work on this for later. It's not just for here and now. You have some sort of a semblance and understanding in your head that you have a goal, right, that you're headed towards, that you want to achieve. So where do you see yourself in your vision? You have to imagine where you see yourself at the end, not where you're holding right now. B'asher Husham, because Hashem doesn't judge us only on where we are now. We have Yehurei tshuva, even a thought of doing tshuva. We didn't even do it. We just thought of doing tshuva, we get schar. So already you have to imagine yourself where you're going to be. Who you're going to be, right? After these 40 days. Just 40 days. This is one of the things also I think Rabbi Travis is saying. Is that why do you look at the positive? Because imagine, like, think of all the good things that you've done, right? And imagine yourself in 40 days how you're going to be even better in that particular thing that you're going to zone in on. The imagination is relating to this month. It's the koach of the dimayon is tapping into the subconscious. Oftentimes we're in the conscious mind, right? What we think, we do, right? We should tap into the subconscious mind, which brings us forward, which propels us forward to be better people. Because when you imagine something in a positive light, when you close your eyes right now, you see yourself doing good things, like, right? Being, speaking nicely to your husband, and, trying to keep the peace, right? And not answering back somebody who said something to you, like, how does that feel? Oh, that feels amazing. Like, I did it. I succeeded.
Yeah, when you have control, you feel amazing.
Yeah. So then imagine that, and that's what you're striving towards. You want to say something?
Yeah. Because you're talking about the positivity and the focusing on negative
Yes.
stuff. But like in the whole formal, everything's like slichas, ashanu, and like all of that. So it is focusing on all the things that we have done wrong. Where like there's no formal thing. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
But you said two things. You said slach lanu, right? Slicha, kapara.
yeah.
And then you said ashavnu bagadnu. So there are two different things, right? Why? Because what do we believe? When you end Yom Kippur, after saying it so many times, vidui, what do you believe at the end of Yom Kippur? That Hashem forgave you.
Yeah.
Meaning, what I did is not so bad. Meaning, I did tshuva, I rectified, I know that I tried my best, and I'm asking Hashem. The fact that you're saying, Hashem, you can forgive me, right? That you believe that even Hashem would forgive you, already that's a step in a positive direction. That's not negative. That means that I can attain slicha no matter what I have done wrong. That's the power of tshuva, right? The person who's the worst Russian doesn't have any mitzvahs, right? He can achieve tshuva, right? It says, "V'shavta ad Hashem Elokecha." You should be able to get up ad kisei hakavod. Tshuva is so powerful; it reaches all the way up to where Hashem sits on His kisei hakavod. And when we blow the shofar, what are we doing? Shofar melashon leshaper, to improve. That we believe that what happens during the shofar, do you know what happens? Hashem is sitting and judging us. He's in the kisei adin, and He gets up, so to speak, kivyachol, on our terminology, right? He gets up and He sits in the kisei of rachamim. And He's listening even just to our dimayon, because during shofar we don't talk. You're not supposed to talk during shofar. And we're going to talk about this. What do we do during shofar? The man blows, the man who's blowing, he's blowing out air. He's exhaling. This koach of the exhale is taking out air from our body. Who gave us this? Who gave us this neshima? Hashem. He gave us a neshama. It's coming from within and it's being exhaled out. And that koach is the ability to tap into our inner self, the core of who we are. That's really what shofar is. We're blowing from even a small, narrow place to a big place, right? Mina metzar karatiya, aneni b'merchavia. The whole concept of the tshuva, the whole concept of asking for slicha, the whole concept is that we believe that Hashem is going to open up and He's going to allow us to be forgiven. That's tremendous ava. That's tremendous rachamim. Of course, we have to do the acts, right? Of asking Hashem and understanding really why are we tapping, why do we hit our heart? Some people say really it's here. Why do we do it? And you know what? When you're Baal Tshuva, these people in seminary, they go in the Neve and they come and they learn about this and they're banging their heart like really hard. It's wrong. It's not about the banging. It's not like let's abuse myself now because what's it called in the Christian world? Self-destruction, because I did something wrong, I'm a horrible person. Self-affliction, yeah. No, the whole point is to know what's the source of where you sinned. It's from here, inside your heart. The source for us choosing to do something good or not good is coming from the heart. And the heart really desires to do good. So we're reminding ourselves, where's the makol? Where's the makol that was coming? We're just reminding us. This is like a reminder. It's not about banging hard every time you say, Hashem, I'm a horrible person. No.
We're saying like, I did this.
Yes. So why do you say that? What's vidui? Litvadot. To say.
Right.
And that's also the power of the breath. Litvadot. It's really the power of the breath that we're exhaling. We're saying it. Why? Because you say it and you hear it. And it has a roshem on you, right? It's not enough to say, oh, I'm thinking about all the things I did wrong. It's not enough. Why? Because there has to be an action. There has to actually be an act, an asiyah. We have to bring a korban, right? Not guilt. So this concept of Jewish guilt, it does not exist, and we think it exists. It's not guilt. What is that called?
Remorse? No, not remorse.
Not remorse. What do? We have to have charata, regret. That's what you're doing. Vidui is our step of tshuva. Vidui, right? Charata, azivat achet, kabbalah latid, which means I confess, right? I realize what I did wrong, and I leave that sin. I'm not going to do it anymore, Hashem. I promise I'm not going to do it anymore. You have to actually say it. There has to be an action, and that's actually what we're going to talk about today. Elul. Every month has a faculty, has something that relates to it. So we'll go back. I don't know if you heard my share the last couple of months. Tammuz and Av. Tammuz was re'iyah. They saw. The Meraglim went in Tammuz and they saw. And what did they look at in the land? The negativity. And they came back and they said an evil report. And Bnei Israel heard it in Av, right? On Tisha B'Av. They heard it and Hashem said, oh, you heard what they said and you interpreted negatively. I'm going to give you a reason to cry, right? When they heard it, they said something negative. They thought negative about the land. They didn't want to go in, right? Choser emunah and bitachon and Hashem. So the faculty of Tammuz is re'iyah, seeing. Let me look at it for a second. I'll tell you. And the faculty of Av that relates to our body is shmi'ah. If you look at those words together, they spell rash. A rash is like a poor person, a very poor person. It's somebody who's deprived, okay? And just follow me with this because you're going to see how it leads into Elul. So he's deprived, he's poor. Because these 2 months, so to speak, we were like withholding ourselves. And I'm going to answer your question through this. And then the koach of the faculty that relates to Elul is asiyah. Doing, okay? Actual doing, asiyah. Asiyah begins with the letter ayin. Switch the letters around. Shin, ayin, resh, sha'ar. it's a gate. Elul is a time where we now are creating the gate. What's this gate? What does a gate do? It opens the door, right? It allows you to flow into from one place to another place. So Elul is the shal. What do you do with the shal? You close it. You're closing the past year stuff that you didn't do right, all the negativity, all the things I didn't do right. You're closing the door, so to speak, of the past year, and you're opening the door of the goodness, of the tov, of the year to come, allowing any deprivation of goodness, anything that was rash, anything that was poor, any deprivation of the goodness that was in the past year, to now be actually transformed into and evolving into goodness. Through what? Through the act of tshuva. By me doing an act of tshuva, regretting, saying, right? And asking Hashem forgiveness and saying, I'm never going to do it again, leaving the sin, right? And accepting it by myself to do it better. That is an act of tshuva. And that is allowing us to open the door to the goodness. And one more thing, I just want to follow the train of thought here. When you write the divine name, this is very cool. When you write the divine name of Adnut, Ado and Nai, okay, and you spell out the letters, Aleph, Aleph, Lamed, Pei, okay, Dalet, Dalet, Lamed, Taf, right? You spell out the letters. So when you write that, there are 12 letters corresponding to what? The 12 months of the year. Okay, so follow me. We said Tammuz, Av, and Elul. These are grouped together. Why? These were the months that belonged to Esav. These were the months that there was tremendous retribution, right? Negativity. But there is a tremendous koach in these months. Let's look what it says. Tammuz and Av are the 4th and the 5th, right? The 4th and the 5th months, or the letters in the sequence, if we're writing the Shem, Adon, and then Nai, right? Writing the actual letters. So we have 4th and 5th, right? And it actually says that that's Dalet and Lamed, if we count the 4th and 5th. Aleph, Lamed, Pei. Dalet, that's the 4th. Lamed, and what's the 6th letter? Taf. Dalet, Lamed, Taf. What's Dalet, Lamed, Taf? Delet. A door. You follow me? I wrote out the name of Hashem. Aleph, Lamed, Pei. Dalet, Lamed, Taf. Right? Nun, Vav, Nun. If you write out the name Adnut. So the 4th, 5th, and the 6th is Dalet, Lamed, Taf, Delet. Right? The 4th, 5th, and the 6th month. These months are the way that we open up. And we spoke about the Dalet Lamed. It's also, Dalet Lamed is like a rash. Dal. Somebody who's poor. Dalet Lamed, he's poor. Right? Alluding to the negative qualities. Right? The things that we're missing, the deprivations. You're Dal. But when we add the Taf of Elul to the Dalet Lamed, Delet, the Taf of Elul, we create a door. Elul is the door, or the Sha'ar, like we said, the gate that closes on the past year and opens to new possibilities for the coming year. That the practices of Elul help us to specify, own, achieve closure, achieve the ability to close those things that held us back, the negativity, the guilt, and now stepping into a new space of time and soul connection and closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The letter that relates to this month is the letter Yud. The letter Yud represents this realm of thought. We talk about the thought, right? We have a thought and then we do an action. And it's also relating to the sense of the month, right? In the realm of action. Thought and action, in a way, they seem to be opposites, right? Thought is just a thought, right? You don't do anything about it. Action, you're doing something, right? But really,
They're linked.
there seems to be a contradiction in the themes of Elul. But he says, I'm going to read it. This is because the beginning is wedged in the end. It's written in Sefer Yetzirah. In the beginning of the year, we're inspired. We have a plan. We have a thought, how we're gonna do things this year, how things are gonna unfold, right? And what we will accomplish and how we're gonna grow from this. The end of the year, there's a culmination of our plans in action. Okay, so they are really connected. You thought of something, you wanted, you saw yourself in the imagination. You imagine yourself in a different place, right? In a few months from now, you're going to be a different person. You're Bria Chadasha, right? And the action, the Asiyah, which is Elul, the faculty that relates to Elul is Asiyah, is doing, right? We see it at the culmination of the year. So he says to illustrate this, you have an idea, you have a vision in your mind of how, let's say, your home is going to look. You're building your new home, Bezrat Hashem. Tova's going to have a new home, Bezrat Hashem. Now she has a home. She's going to have a new house. You have a house. You're going to have a new house. You have a home already, Tova. She didn't hear me. Tova.
I have it already.
You have a home. You're going to have a new house, Bezrat Hashem. Okay? So you have an idea and a vision of how your home will look when? Before you even start to build it. Before you get it, you're already envisioning what it's going to look like. But only once you complete the building of the home can you say, oh, this is exactly how I envisioned it to be, right? You had the thought, but only after the asiyah of the action of having the house built, then you can say, oh, this is how I envisioned it to be. In the same way, he says, Elul is a month of thought and of action. Elul is a month of tshuva, that's the action. A time where our thoughts are reckoned against, reconciled, reunited with our actions. It says when our lived actions are the direct materialization of our envisioned thoughts, then our actions, our life, and our thoughts, our dreams, they're one. They're all one. So it's the thought and the action is connected. Just going back to the letter Yud, when you write a letter in the Torah, any letter that you write in the Torah, what does it look like when you just first write it? A Yud. It looks like a Yud, right? Any letter that's in the Torah, it looks like a Yud, right? Yud is the smallest. Yeah, it has a Yud in it. The smallest letter in the Torah is the Yud. We spoke about this concept of humility, right? The concept of, in order to do tshuva, we have to humble ourselves. We have to subdue ourselves. Really, each one of the months relates to a letter. I don't know if you heard my other share, I talk about that. This is not me, the Bnei Yisachar. It's brought out Sefer Yetzirah. It's called Lashon HaKodesh. It's not just letters. Letters have significance, numerical value, and deep, deep concepts that really connect to the dimensions of that letter and the month. Okay, and all of the Aleph Bet. Last month I said something, blew everyone away, and I was like, I had to read it a few times to explain it, but every letter, last month was number 9. That's number 9. Every letter in the Aleph Bet, if you added and you look at the middle, you add the letters and the way they're spelled, you end up getting the number 9. They all equal the number 9, every single letter. I can't do it with you now, it's too complicated. Because you spell, no, 9. Aleph, right, pay. And they pay, yeah. It's significant that there's Kabbalah, the number 9 is related to all, because 9 is the most hidden letter. 9 is very significant in the Torah. If you look at the 9th pasuk of every parsha, is hiddenness, a certain hiddenness, a certain light that's being revealed. It looks like it's not there, but it's really there. But we're not getting into it. That's last. Okay. Huh? 9 months of pregnancy, so the beginning of the conception of the world. So we spoke about Tu B'Av. Tu B'Av relates to Elul, actually. Tu B'Av is the 40 days before the conception of the world, Chaf-E Elul. Yeah, Tu B'Av is 40 days before Chaf-E Elul. The beginning of the conception of the world. It's Tu B'Av. It's powered. That's why Tu B'Av is like Yom Kippur. Tu B'Av, there's no greater days than Tu B'Av and Yom Kippur. Listen to my other share. Listen to last month's share. That talks about it, Tu B'Av. So here we see that there are different letters, 3 categories of letter: mother letters, 7 double letters, and 12 simple letters. Okay, I'm not getting into all of it, but basically, yeah, the Yud is the smallest elevated point. The Yud represents the Nekudat Hatov. Going back to that talk about, we said the guilt, the negativity. I could have done that. Shamnu Bagadnu. Really, what we're trying to do is go to the root source of the Tov, the goodness, the pinta l'yid, right? That every Jew really has a connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, no matter how far he is. You can see a Jew in China, in the jungle of Thailand, and all these places. I had a guy that came on Shabbos table, and he tells us all about his jungle experiences. He had like long hair, he came for Shabbat, Baruch Hashem, but he's like telling us all the jungle experiences, and he's like, yeah, and I was on the verge of life and death, and there was a snake, and I was like, I almost died, yeah, and he said Shema Yisrael, and Baruch Hashem was saved, and you think he kept Shabbos after that? No, he kept mitzvahs? No, a few times in my life, he's telling us all these stories. I'm like, I look at him like, so why aren't you keeping Torah mitzvahs? Why don't you keep Shabbos? Like, Hashem saved your life. No, and he's like all like angry, and he says, I went back to Israel because I was searching this, and I went back in the middle, and I went to the Makubal, and I asked him, what do you think is happening to me? And he's like, I don't know, I'm trying, I want to do good. The Makubal said, go back to the jungle. So he told him, and he was all upset. They told him that. What was the point? You're not getting the messages. You're not hearing. But yet he's telling us this. We'll go to Thailand and India, the Buddhas and all that, and even the Buddha, the great Buddha there, he tells them, go back to your source. Because the essence of who we are is really, we want to be connected. And there's something that bothers us, and we're searching. Everyone's going and searching, looking for the Kedusha, spirituality. But really, where is it? It lies really within us. And this is why during the time of Elul, we're connecting, we said, in our thoughts. We meditate. He talks about, this is Rav Dov Ber Pinson speaks about, and it's also the Rabbanim, they tell us, how do you meditate? Go to a quiet place and just close your eyes. Some people put on music, but really nothing. Why? Because you want to connect to your true self, to your inner core. And we are afraid to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So many times we have people, they don't like silence. Silence means something negative is about to happen. They have to turn on the music, right? You have to listen to a shiur. You're not allowed to be alone with yourself. This is our generation. We can't be alone. There's no such thing as reading a book today, right? You have to put on the headphones and listen to it, audible books, people are afraid to be with themselves. Why? Because it means they have to be honest and face themselves. They have to really go deep and face who they are. And guess what? Hashem said that's what you're supposed to do in Elul. Hitbodedut, hitbonenut. Really go delve deep into yourself and really think about what is it that you need to do to be able to be closer to Hashem. Not I'm a horrible person. How could I have done that and beat yourself up? But yes, Hashem, I know you love me, Hashem, and I love you, Hashem, and I really want to be connected to my core. If I did that bad thing, it's really because Hashem, I wasn't thinking, and I really didn't want to do that, and I really want to be good, Hashem, and I am good, Hashem, and I know, Hashem, you love me. And this is what we're doing, is tshuva. This is the steps of tshuva, is to be mitboded and mitbonen, and to really think about what I can do better, how I can be able to be closer to Hashem. And this is the Pinta L'Yid. We're talking about the point of spiritual elevation in every single person. That he says that this timeless purity of our soul that remains unsullied within us. And how chaotic our life may seem, we always want to be connected. We always want to have that kav, that connection. So the Zohar speaks about this yud, that the yud is a nekudah, it says nekudah kadma, the point of origin, the primal point through which all letters emanate. Just as he says, as hey and aleph are the origin of all vocal sounds. When we say something, right, there's a breath, there's a hey or a ah, right? Aleph. That's he says the beginning of all letters of speech, right? The yud is the beginning of all written letters, because like I said, every letter, if we start to write it, it looks like a yud. So the yud is a nekudah of every ot, of every letter. It's the point from which every letter arises, and when written out, the top of every letter of the alphabet originates with a small point resembling this yud, this small yud that is like a downward motion that we go down and outwards from a certain point. So the letter yud is the essence. It's the one that that really is the core of every single letter. If you look at the letter yud and you spell it backwards, instead of yud vav dalet, it's dio. Dalet yud vav. right? Dio in Hebrew means ink. Yud is a drop of ink that starts every single letter. These three letters are also a graphical display of expansion from a point to a line, to an area. Point, line, area. That we're expanding, right? And that's why the Yud is this nekudat tova. If you look at the letters, Yud is a nekuda, point. Then this point extends to a kav, that's the vav, Yud vav. And then finally the dalet is the horizontal vector that becomes the shetach, the area. Point, line, area, right? So it's amazing. This is not me. This is a Rebbe Rashab and many other sources here. They just brought down the Rebbe Bati the Gani. So like Chabad also, he's a Chabad rabbi. Okay, so let's moving on because we have to wrap up soon. Yud is synonymous with Olam Haba. This world's created with the Hey, Olam Hazeh, and Olam Haba is the Yud. What does that have to do? What does that relate? That there's a future, that we believe that there's hope, that there's an extension, whatever it is that we're doing here. And the future world is the potential of perfect goodness, that everything is going to be revealed, right? We're going to see everything is going to be like Tova, Olam Haba. And this future world corresponds to what we're talking about, the Pinta Yid, and transforming ourselves through the act of tshuva. Originally, it says the 3 intense summer months, Tammuz, Av, and Elul, were in the domain of Esav, like I mentioned to you. The forces of Tohu, of chaos, right? Because a lot of chaos in Tammuz and in Av, right? And yet, Yaakov, which is the side of Kedusha, holiness, is able to wrestle half of Av, because the beginning of Av is the Poranut, and then Tu B'Av and on is greatness, right? That's the goodness, and that's Yaakov. So he's able to wrestle from the clutches of the negative side and transform it into positivity. So we went from Esav to Yaakov within these months. And Elul is connected to this Yud, and Yud is connected to Yaakov. Yaakov from the Shon Ekev, from the heel, right? It says the Yaakov is spelled with a Yud, right? The letter Yud, plus the word Ekev, Yud Ayin Kuf Vet, right? That when Yaakov is born, he receives this name because his hand, his Yad, Yud, Yad, is holding on to the Ekev, to the heels of Esav. So Yaakov could have been called Ekev without the Yud, the beginning of his name. Why the Yud? Why the significance? There's a hand, right? There's a reaching out. It says Esav comes from the word Asui. Asui means made, right? He was already born like with hair, and he looked like an adult, right? He was Asui. And this, he says, represents the fact that he was born like a finished product, especially with regards, like I just said, to the hair, right? He was Asui. And this Asui includes also Esav with a Yud. Esav, Yud, Asui. Right, the Yud is at the end, right? The end of his name. Yaakov, the Yud is the beginning of the name, which represents the absorbing of Elul into the domain of Yaakov, the domain of Kedusha. Practically, what does this mean? That we can retrieve the Yud of ultimate wisdom even from deep within the darkness, even from the things, the lowest of the lowest places. That this is the work of tshuva, that we can achieve this Yud, the Pinta Yid, the goodness and nekudat tova when we do tshuva. So going back to Adina, well, you said the negativity that we're saying Ashavnu Bagadnu, really it's tapping into the positivity. That in our core, we have that Yud of Yaakov, we have the Yad, we have the connecting, the one that wants to be good, the Nekudat Tova. So we have to break apart, we have to take the negativity by doing tshuva, the things that we didn't do right, to be able to connect to the positivity. So he talks about this. What do? He says we need to learn to ask questions of ourselves. He says that what do? We ask a question, why? Why did this happen to me? Right? Why did I do that? What's the word why in Hebrew? Lama. Lama asiti et zeh. That kind of why is blaming, is critical. That's not what we're doing tshuva. Why did I do that? Why did that happen? Right? Or a better question he says is what? Ma. Lama is lema. For what? For what purpose? I heard Rebbetzin Younger, Alea Shalom, speak about this. Instead of lama, lema. For what purpose? What could I possibly learn from the situation? Okay, I did something wrong. What can I learn from it? What can I do better? Right? And this is happening now, so I could learn something for the future. So this is what we're talking about, the lama and lema, is to try to intuit the potential trajectory of the event in the present. Meaning, we have to resist this negativity, thinking negative, and not ask why did it happen and blaming, because that's blaming for something that happened in the past, but more looking into the future of how this is going to help me to grow. And that's what Elul is all about, recognition of the potential future in the now. Who am I now? And where do I want to go? Okay, I'm going to skip to the last part because we have time and I want to talk about HaMelech Basadeh. Just a couple more minutes. I also have to leave by 12. We'll leave together. Okay, let's do 5 minutes. Is that okay? Or should I end?
No.
Okay, so I just have to tap into the title because it's just so amazing. And I told you we're going to have another class. It's too much. Okay, so when we talk about the Melech Basadeh, right? What's a Melech Basadeh? The king is in the field. And the Baal Shem Tov discusses that when there's a king, right? He's like a leader. And usually a leader, he comes, where does he go? He goes, so to speak, like on the outskirts. He doesn't come into the middle of the town, because when he comes to the middle of the town, there's tremendous kavod. You have to be careful how it's okay, thank you for coming. How he relates to the people, right? And how he conducts himself. But what do we mean by a melech basadeh? When the king is in the field, he's where everybody is, right? That means kilu biyachad itanu, he's with us. It shows a tremendous kirva. It shows how much he loves us. And during the time of Aselet Mechuvah, we say, Avinu Malkeinu. First he's our father, and then he's our melech. But even though he's our melech, we have yirah, we have kavod. He's our Avinu. He loves us. There's no father that rejects the child. But part of that malchut of Hashem, that we're able to connect to a king even. A king is somebody removed from us. A king is like, whoa, such yirah. Why? Because a king cannot be mochel on his kavod. A father can tell his son, you can sit in my chair, it's okay. A king cannot tell the subjects, you could sit in my throne. He cannot be mochel on his kavod. Why? Because we have to have that yirah. We have to feel that connection of Hashem with a certain boundary, because we learn from having a king how to be connected to Hashem. As a melech malchei hamlechim. When you have a king here in this world, we don't have that, right? When we think of England, you had a king, a queen, right? There's a certain boundary, right? A certain gadel. But really, during this time when we are talking about Elul, right? When paradoxically he says mundane and transcendent all are all here at once, he says the month of the highest revelation of the supreme king, HaMelech Basadeh, the king is here, it's present. The Elul is composed of these remarkable days that are devoid of any chagim. There's no chagim in Elul. There's no times that we're connecting to any holidays, right? But there's so much kedusha, and this relates to the kedusha and the chol. Like we said, I said of connection to Purim. Purim is like Yom Kippurim is like Purim. On Purim, through the asiyah, through the actions, we can achieve such elevation, we achieve such kedusha. The same thing in Elul. There's kedusha by the fact that Hashem is revealing Himself in the chol, in the emptiness, and the mundane, and the weekday. And the fact that Hashem is here with us, He's in the field, He's accessible, He's approachable. He wants to show His subjects His kind, loving face, right? And when the Torah is describing this, it's for us to understand that we can connect to you, Hashem, even though you're a king. And that's ahava. And how do we connect to Hashem? As far as we do it for 40 days. You guys have it easy. 1 week. Slichot. Yeah, I'm there every night. But there's this concept of waking up early. Also, we're changing our ma'asim. That you're not lazy in the morning. You wake up ashmarot halayla in the middle of the night to go do something. To what? To change. To say the vidui, right? To ask forgiveness. But this concept, he's saying that this concept of a king, and we're asking or we're beseeching him, it's tremendous kirva. That Hashem loves us and he gives us the opportunity to do tshuva. That we're not like a king of Melech B'Sabadam. We go to court and he says, guilty, done, right? Execute him. That he's our Melech, but he's our Father. And he says, come close to me. This is the month that I'm here and I want you to come close. I want you to meet me. I want you to greet me. And there's a lot more to say. But really, this concept of the Torah-aligned king serves as a conduit for a higher year, like we mentioned, for a bitul in front of the king. We said a humbling of ourselves. Hashem, I know you love me, and I'm going to humble myself. I'm going to say vidui. What do we do when we say vidui? We humble ourselves. We lower ourselves a little bit. Even our shoulders we lower, right? We don't stand up like this saying vidui, right? I'm humbling myself. That I have a trepidation, but yet I feel that love of Hashem. Okay, the feeling of close. It's a palpable feeling. And he says, the Rizal brings down, it's like Hashem is smiling at us. He's showing us a pleasant face. That even though he's the omnipotent king, the transcendent, the all-powerful, right? We have to feel that. In Elul, Hashem is smiling and is showing us a panim yafot, a pleasant face. And therefore, it's the time when we have the Yudgim and Midot of Rachamim, which shows Ahava of Hashem. And we say these Yudgim and Midot to show how close and how loving Hashem is to us, that He forgives us no matter what. So it's the concept of Yir'ah and Ahava. It's Elokim and it's Yud-Kei Vav-Kei Adnut, Shem Adnut. It's the Rachamim and the Din together to show the compassion of Hashem, to show how much Hashem loves us. So to wrap it up, there's a lot more to say, but basically, and by the way, we blow the shofar, like from that smallness to the big we spoke about, to be able to connect us in this way to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is the time. This is a time of tremendous ahava, tremendous tshuva, that we are able to rectify and to change ourselves. And that's a great zchut that we have, that Hashem gives us. That we're not going to just be executed because we did something wrong. Hashem's not going to strike us down. That we can change, that we can manifest the goodness within ourselves, the Pintali Yid, and that we can connect on a deeper level to Kadosh Baruch Hu. And really, we didn't say that I wanted to talk about, but really this is the point. When you do tshuva, you're a new person. You're a B'riah Chadasha. You're as if recreating yourself, right? And this was Adam Rishon. When Hashem said to him, Ayeka, where are you, right? Hashem gave him the ability to rectify and to change and to recreate himself, so to speak, to no longer be that one that sinned. Right? Hashem even let him stay in the garden of Shabbat, right? Before he told him to leave. Like there was still that kirva, even though I did something wrong, I'm not like completely separated from Hashem. I love Hashem and Hashem loves me. And with this feeling, we need to really, really tune and zone in what we said about our subconscious mind, to meditate, to think about something that you want to change, and to actually do it, to actually in your mind imagine yourself doing it. He says to have a mindful intention, and to set that intention and pick something that you want to work on. He actually says practical ideas. I'll give you another share, that you really need to like zone in on one particular or two particular things that you want to work on, and really imagine yourself, seeing yourself already past it and doing it. And the more we do this, we meditate, and we build these patterns, like we have patterns of negative things, of negative habits, to do something for 40 days. When you do it, you're building positive patterns. So every day to try to have 10 minutes a day. It sounds like a little, but it's really a lot to just be by yourself, whether it's in the morning for you or at night before you go to sleep. We say Shema, Cheshma Lamita, Cheshbon Nefesh. What are the things that I want, that good qualities that I have? What are the things I can tap into? What are the things that I want to change today, or think about that I want to make better, right? And practice this. He says 10 to 20 minutes a day, and don't look at it as like overwhelming, but really zone in on that one particular thing. and really try to practice it every day to do something related to it. I want to give more tzedakah, so every day I'm going to put a coin in the pushka. I want to be able to do a mitzvah of chesed. So every day I'm going to maybe try to call someone. I'm going to try to go and buy something for someone. Really to do it as a practice, to zone in and to really think about how I'm going to do this. And it should be ben adam lechavero and ben adam lemakom. I would pick two things that relate to us and man, and that relate to us and Hashem. Because in those two places we have to do our avodah, right? Not just one. Of course for ourselves. Of course for ourselves. Okay, the other thing I wanted to say is that he talks about the kavanah in the past year. Go through each one of the months and how we can change. So it's like you make an accounting for each one of the months. It's a lot. But we have this day. This is a book on Elul. He has it for every month of the year. It's called, I don't know, he just calls it the month, and then it's by Rav Dov Ber Pinston. The Spiral of Time series. Is he from Brooklyn? I don't know. Oh my gosh. He's amazing. I had my husband buy me like the series. Right. I didn't know he was from Brooklyn. So Bezrat Hashem, I give all of us a bracha that we should love ourselves and we should believe in our koach and tremendous koach of tshuva, because Hashem loves us, wants us closer to Him, and Hashem should give us the ability to do tshuva mi'ahava and feel that closeness, that care for the Melech Basadeh, that He's here, that He wants us to come close to Him. The fact that He's here, that shows how much He loves us, and being able to tune into that pintel yid, the yud inside of us, be able to connect to actually it talks about the left hand. The left hand is also the fact of the body part that relates, because it's a subconscious mind, right? The left feeds the right side of the brain. We can talk about that, but relate to all the things that we said in Shia, that really zone in to that goodness, to that nekudat tova within us, to that ability to really come close to Hashem and to spend time with ourselves a little more during this month. So when we reach Rosh Hashanah, we feel like, hey, I did something, And then when we ask for slicha and kapara at the end of Yom Kippur, we're going to know that we already had this avodah that we worked on to make it a good year. Shana tova, b'sorot tovot, tiva v'chatima tova. We should be reading the book of life, tzaddikim, all our children and our families. We should be zochah to a shana tova metuka, b'sorot tovot, Yeshua v'nechamot. Thank you. It's 12 o'clock. It's done. Thank you, ladies.